Okay, we're going to start our look at the first solo in Desert Rose with a look at the octave section that he starts the solo with. Now the octave section is going to sound kind of like this. Alright, so let's take a look at that. We're going to start with a slide. We're going to do the octave shape at the 6th fret on the 5th string, and its octave note at the 8th fret on the 3rd string. So we're going to play the octave, slide up to the 8th fret. Then you're going to hit the 8th fret and slide quickly up to 10 and back down to 8. So we have this. Then you slide back down to 6, so you kind of pause slightly on that 8 and back down to 6. We all together. And then pick 6 and slide it back to the 8. So it's just based around 3 notes there. All together. Then we're going to come over and do the octave shape off the 4th string. So we're going to have the 4th string at the 8th fret and then the 11th fret on the 2nd string, a little bit spread out. Now what we did there was we hit the 8th fret octave shape, slide up to 10, and then back down to 6. So we have this. And then come back and hit 8, the first octave shape. So we get this. And then we're going to end it with the same octave shape off the 8th fret on the 5th string, up to the 10th fret and back down to the 8. Just hold that, and then he adds the trim bar with there on that note. So all together. Then he does a slide to really start the solo, kick in the solo. He slides on the 6th string up to the 16th, on the 6th fret, the 6th string up to the 16th fret and then back down. Okay? And then we had this lick. Now this little lick that he does here, it's a little bit awkward in how he fingers and everything. But let's take a look at it. It's kind of awkward because the pentatonic, the fast pentatonic lines go in kind of opposite directions. So it starts out with a slide here. Let me play this section slow real quick. There's a lot of jumping around there. So let's go through it. We're going to start with a pinky slide at the 13th fret on the 1st string, slide up to the 15th, then the 16th. Okay, then we have a big stretch here. That's going to be from the 11th fret on with your 2nd finger. You're going to pick that note and then pick the 8th fret on the 1st string. And I'm just going down, up, down, then pull off. Pulling off from the 13th to the 11th on the 1st string with your 4th and 2nd fingers. All right, now we start the little pentatonic jumping around. So he's going to start here. Now, just so you'll know, we're in the key of F minor pentatonic here. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be hammering on from 10 to 13 on the 3rd string. Then coming over to the 2nd string and pulling off from 13 to 11. That's what I mean, you're going in opposite directions. He does one ascending, then descending on the next string. Then you're going to shift down to the 9th fret and pull off from 11 to 9 on the 2nd string. We have. Then shift again and down the fret and over a string to the 8th fret on the 4th string, hammer on 8 to 10, then jump over to the 3rd string and pull off 10 to 8. So basically do it in reverse. So we have Then take your first finger, roll over to the 4th string, the 8th fret, and slide it down to the 6th fret. I'm sorry. And then we're going to do a pull off from 8 to 6 on the 5th string. So that gets us out of the little pentatonic runs. And then we do a quick, it's just kind of muted on the recording, but it's 6 on the 5th fret down to 6 on the 6 on the 5th string, then 6 on the 6th string, back to 6 on the 5th string. And just do it with a roll with your 2nd finger. Then you're going to pick 5 on the 4th string and slide up to 6. Then roll over to the 6 on the 3rd string. Then play 9 on the 2nd string, and then the 9 on the 1st string, the high E. Kind of an awkward jump, I know. All right, and then we're going to end this phrase with. Now what I did there is you bend up at the 14th fret on the B string here. Release it just a half. We do a whole step bend, then release it a half step, then you release it all the way back down and pick it. So it makes 1, 2, 3. It makes like 3 notes. All right, now let's start to look at the next phrase, which is going to go like this. All right, so we start here with some 9th fret on the low E, then 11th on the A string, and then 13 on the D string. And then we're going to have 11 on the B string, and then 13 on the high E, and do that slide again from up to 15, then 16. Okay, now we're going to start one of his kind of patented fast pentatonic / ascending arpeggio licks, and that's the pentatonic version of it. So we have, after you slid it to the 16, come over with your 3rd finger on the 16th fret on the 2nd string, and we're going to pick this 16th fret, and then come back to the 13th fret on the high E. Then you're going to pull off 16 to 13 on the B, then pull off 15 to 13 on the G, and then play that 15th fret on the D string and slide it up to the 18th fret. So we have. Now when he gets to this, when he basically got to that 15th fret and he slid up, now he's starting an ascending arpeggio. The first note was a slide like we just covered. Then you're going to come up and pick 17 on the G string, 16 on the B string, hammer on to the 18th fret, and then do 16, 18, 20 on the high E string. Now the picking for that, downstroke to start the slide, downstroke, downstroke, hammer, down, up, down. It's a lot of notes, but it's mostly downstrokes. So we have. Okay, now we start the next section of the solo, which will be. All right, now that is kind of starting out kind of bluesy here with 2 whole step bends at the 16th fret on the B string. Then go 13 on the high E, then 16 on the B. Then do a whole step bend on the 15th fret on the G string. Then go 13, 16 on the B. And then come back down to the 15th fret on the G string. Then we're going to do some open voiced arpeggios. That is 13 on the D string, then the 17th fret on the G string, and then the 15th fret on the high E. Now this is a 15 on the D, 17 on the G, 16 on the B, 15 on the high E, then followed by 16. So we have this. Then he hits a little slight open string. You probably heard me do that when I was demonstrating it. It's, I don't know if it's a mistake or he meant to do it or whatever, but it's in there. There's a slight open G string there. It kind of works with the rhythm, so he might actually be intentional, but it's an open G, and then a downstroke on the 13th fret on the D string, then 11 on the B, 11 on the high E, is 11, 13, 11 on the high E. Then we're going to end that phrase with a slide from 13 to 15. Okay, now that puts us in position for the next phrase, which is going to be kind of like, all right, so this phrase is it's a little tricky. We're gonna start here. The picking is really important here. So we're gonna do downstroke on this 18th fret, 4th string, the D string. Then you're gonna hammer 15 to 17 on the G string, then hammer 16 to 18 on the B string. Then slide down to the 16 really quick. It's a really quick slide. You barely hear it. And then we start this picking phrase, which is kind of like a stock Eric Johnson lick here. We have upstroke on the 13th fret, the B string, downstroke pulling off from 15 to 13 on the G. Then we're going to do a quick little roll across the 15th fret on the 4th to the 3rd string, and then to the 16th fret with a downstroke on the 16th fret on the B. So these are all 3 downstrokes in a row. Little sweep there. All right. All right, so after this, upstroke on the 13th fret again on the B. And we just have this kind of all right, so we have upstroke on this B, pull off 15 to 13 on the G. Then you come to that 15 and do another roll back down with just 2 downstrokes here into the 15 on the G string, pull off to 13, pull off to 15 to 13 on the D, come down to the 15 on the 5th string, and then do another roll into the 15 on the 4 with economy picking, 2 downstrokes, pull off to that 13 there. So you can see we have like this. So we're just doing that lick like basically basically 3 times, from these 15 to 16, pull off to 13, then, so it's the same 5-note lick. Now when you get down to this bottom one, come and skip down to this 13th fret on the low E string, back to 15 on the A string, and then 13, 15 on the D string. And then when that is just slide from 13 down to 12. Then play 13, 15 on the G, slide to the 15 to 16 on the B, and then do the same thing without the slide, 2 frets higher, 17 and 18 on the 3rd and 2nd string. Then we have this little phrase. Some arpeggios here. So we have, the first one is going to be a roll from the 6th fret on the 6th string, the low E string to the A string. Then the 5th fret on the D string. Then roll from the 8 on the D string to the 8 on the G. And then we're going to have a pick 4 to 6, 4 on the A and 6 on the D string, then come up and hammer 6 to 9 on the B string. Kind of skips around. Then we're going to do the same arpeggio, but it's 2 frets higher, and we're going to pick all the notes. So it's going to be 6 on the 5th string to 8 on the 4th string, and then 8, 11 on the 2nd string, picking all the notes. This next arpeggio, so those 2. And then this next one, 8 on the 5th, 11 on the 4th, 10 on the 3rd string, and then 9 on the 2nd string. Then come up to the 13th position. We have a roll from the 13 on the 5th string to the roll on the 4th string, the A string to the D string, and then 15 on the G, 16 on the B string. And then this one is 16 on the A string to 18 on the D string, and then 16, 18 on the B string. And that little lick is all on the E string, high E string, 16, then pick 15 and do a slight half-step bend and release. Then back to 16 to 18. Okay, this next little lick here is going to be a hammer on from the 15 to 16, pull off to the 13. So you basically 4-note lick, hammer, pull, pull, and then to pick this fast pentatonic lick, he's just going to be doing legatos, pulling off all the way down, and you can do it all with one upstroke, which he does, and I've seen him do some in some live videos. So that is pulling off from, you're picking 14 here on the B string, pull off to 13 with an upstroke. This 15 to 13, pulling off on the G string, 15 to 13 on the D string, and then 16 to 13 on the A string. Makes it a lot easier. All right, and then we have this. And that is going to be pulling off and hammering back on from 11 down to 10, back to 11 on the D string. Hammer 8 to 10 on the G string, 9 to 11 on the B string. Hammer on the from 8 to 9, back to 8, pull up off back to 8 on the high E. Then pull off 11 to 9 on the B string. Then we have a long pentatonic lick here. So what's going on there? So we have pulling off from 13 to 11 to 9, all on the B string. So we have, that's going to be a downstroke. Then pull off from, shift back and pull off from 8 to 10 on the G string. Do an upstroke on the 9th fret on the B string. Then pull back off to the 9th, to the 8 to 6 on the G string. After you pull off 8 to 6, pull off 8 to 6 now on the D string. Slide down to 6. hit the 8th fret on the A string. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, when you get to this this 10th fret here on the D string, roll back to the 10th fret on the G string, and then continue down. So I just missed one there. Hope you got that. All right, and then we continue the lick. There's no break in it really. You're pulling off 5 to 3 to 1 on the G, and then 3 to 1 on the 4th string. Then to the roll over to the 1st fret on the G string, and then pull off 3 to 1 on the 4th string, and pick 3 on the 5th. And then finish this pentatonic lick by playing 1 on the G, and then pulling off 3 to 1 on the D string, 3 to 1 on the A, and 4 to 1 on the 6th string. So we have this. All right, now we have some chord work here, which Eric Johnson loves throwing in his solos. So we basically are going to be doing holding the B flat here at the 5th string here, 1st fret, and then your 3rd finger at the 3rd fret on the D string, and then your pinky at the 3rd fret on the B string. You're going to hybrid pick this, so the pick will get the low note, and then your middle finger will get the note on the 4th string, and then your ring finger will get the note on the 2nd string. Pick that and slide that shape up immediately up 2 frets. And then we're going to do this F power chord shape, which is just 3rd fret on the D string, then 5th fret on the G string, and 6th fret on the B string. Then we're going to come play the same chord shape again that we started these chords with at the 4th fret and slide it immediately up to 6th. And you do the same chord after. So basically the same lick, same thing you did here, but this time starting at the 4th fret. I'm sorry. Then we have some more arpeggio figures. All right, so let's take a look at that. So that is 9 on the low E string, then roll from the 8 on the 5th string to the 8 on the 4th. Then play 9 on the D, 10 on the G, 9 on the B. Hammer on to 11th fret on that B string after you play that 9. Then you got pull off from 11 to 9 to 8 on the high E string. And you're going to play the 9 now, the 11th fret on the B string. Now that is 10 on the D, 12 on the G, 13 on the B string. Shift up to the 12th fret on the high E string, pick it and slide up to the 13. And then play 15 on the high E, down to 13 on the B, back to 16 on the high E, then a slow half step bend and release on the 15th fret, and then end it with the phrase with the 13th fret. All right, and this next phrase is a big, huge, large ascending arpeggio. It's kind of classic Eric Johnson. Oops. So what we're doing here is trying to get warmed up with it. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start this phrase. It's a huge shape, and I love how he does this. It's not your ordinary like sweep-picked arpeggios. The way he does it allows him to change directions right in the middle of it and go back down and back up, and create this really huge, like kind of, ascending sound. It just sounds incredible. So let's tackle it here. We're going to have some I'm going to start with an upstroke here on the 13th fret on the low E. And then we're going to pick the 16th fret on the low E, 15th, then the 13th on the D. And I just did an upstroke, then 3 downstroke. Then slide that up to the 15th fret. Then we're going to continue with 3 downstrokes. They're going to be at the 18 on the D, to the 17 on the G, the 16 on the B. So there's only 1 upstroke so far, that first note. Then he's going to pick an upstroke here at the 18th fret on the 2nd string, and then come back down to the 17th fret on the G string, then back to a downstroke with a downstroke on the 17th fret, and to another downstroke at the 16th fret on the 2nd string. And then 16, 18, 20 on the high E. And then finish the phrase. And that is just 18, 16, quick half step bend and release on the 15th fret, and then 18 on the B string. All right, and here we go with the next little phrase. It's kind of a slippery little thing. So we have basically pulling off from 15 to 11, then 14 to 11 on the B string, 15, 11 on the high E, 14, 11 on the B. Then you're going to pick the 3rd string, pull off, the 13th fret on the G string, and immediately bend and release, half step bend and release. Then hammer back onto the 13th. So we have then hammer back on now from 11 to 14, going in the opposite direction, and hammer back on to the 11 to 15. So you kind of hold that 15 and then that bottom note, and so we have this. All right, so he does that a few times. Then play a quick 16 on the 5th on the A string, followed by a 16 on the high E string. And then we have this little melody line, which is 18 on the B string, then 16 on the high E twice, then 15, 16, 18. And we're going to end the solo with these 2 little arpeggio figures. And a couple chords. So what's going on there? That is 13 on the A, 15 on the D, 15 on the G, then 13, 14 on the B string. And then come up and do to the 16th fret on the A string, 16th fret, then 18th on the D string, followed by 18 on the G string, and then do 16, 18 on the B string. So they're similar, but instead of just being 1 fret apart on the B string, just now 2 frets apart. And we're going to end it with this kind of a open voiced chords here. The first fret here, barred across the first and second string with your third finger on the D string here. And you're going to pick the D string with the pick, and then your middle finger and ring finger will get the top two strings. And then you come to this E flat power chord, open voice power chord, with your third finger here at the 6th fret on the 5th string, A string. You can use your pinky though if you like. Then your first finger, I know Eric likes to use his third finger, that's why I'm using it. And then we have the first finger at the 3rd fret on the G string, and then the second finger at the 4th fret on the 2nd string. And once again, you'll hybrid pick those with the same fingers you did here. Kind of piano style. All right? So that's a lot of notes to get underneath your belt, but you know, it's an Eric Johnson solo. What can you do? Okay? So stay tuned for solo number 2.